Hey again, welcome back to Great Beard Disc Golf. I've got a real quick rip for us today. I've been buying up some of the Innova Team Series discs off my buddy Ed at Ed's Disc Store. Find him on Facebook. And today I've been waiting for this one for a while. Actually, it's been sitting on the pile and I can't wait to give it a rip. It's the Mako3, the Kona Montgomery Mako3 in this beautiful swirled star plastic. So I used to throw a Mako3. Actually, I've got it here. I've got a handful of other ones here we're going to test it against, but right now I just want to see this one. I got a star one, I've got a champ, and I got an XT. So we'll throw those two if we get a chance and see how they go. The Mako for me was always kind of understable, so it didn't really have a big place in my bag. I don't know that it always is. So this is 180 grams, just a big beefy one. We're going to throw it at the basket. I'm 450 feet away from the basket. There's no way I'll probably get halfway there. But let's put it out there flat and see how it flies. A little bit of Anheuser, some turn on it. Wow, good throw. All right. That's pretty much exactly what I want out of that. I wanted just to turn over a little bit and get me some distance. Let's get a scope on that. I wasn't going to scope it, but I think we'll scope it and see where we end up. So that wasn't a terrible throw, 264 feet I think I measured it at. I'm not putting a ton of power on these either. One thing I want to say about this is the shape of the Mako3 mold in general. This might be the most comfortable disc I've ever held, and I've had this champ one, or the star one, for a long time. It's never really made my bag. I would throw it up in Campbell River on hole number 3 at Cooper's Hawk from the Reds. If you know, you know. All my Campbell River friends up there, you know what I'm talking about. And I was able to get this over the hill and have it turned down towards the basket. Now, this is significantly heavier though. That one's 169, this one's 180. This feels like a boat anchor in my arm. So I'm just going to try to put this on a little bit of hyzer now, and then on the way back, maybe we'll give it a forehand rip. Oh, nice. That's a crush. All right, we'll have to look at the film and see. I don't think it came out with a ton of hyzer, but maybe just the perfect amount of hyzer. That thing went dead straight. Let's get a scope on it. So I'm thinking that maybe that star one at 169 is quite a bit more understable. I'm not sure if it's the plastic or the weight. Maybe it's the weight, because it should be pretty well similar, the swirly star. Although my swirly star destroyer is certainly a lot more understable than the star destroyer I have. So even with the star destroyer being a little bit beat in. Otherwise, anyway, let's get a scope on this and then we'll set it up and we'll throw it forehand back at the bag. All right, so a little bit more distance, 279. That was a good throw, but a beautiful shape, just a perfect shape. You want it to kind of fly out there at 5500. That's kind of what you expect out of those flight numbers. All right, so let's get a bit of a forehand on this and see if we can't get it. It's obviously going to flip up a bit more. So I'm going to put it on a little bit more of a hyzer, I hope, and then we'll see if we can get it to have a nice shape on it. There you go. And there's some fight out of it too. That's not bad. Okay. Okay, so first off, we're going to start with the star. Again, this is very similar, but it's slightly lighter at 169 grams. We're going to put these out flat and just see how they behave. Or try to put them out flat anyways. Yeah, just like that. See, quite a bit more understable. Awesome, great flight, great. All right, next, champ. Now this thing is champ. What I hear is that champ is quite a bit more overstable. That is my experience in most respects. We'll see if that holds true for this mold. No, pretty similar. Might have had a little bit more Anheuser on that. I felt like it came out with a little bit more flat, a little bit more Anheuser. And then finally, the XT at 172, so kind of middle ground weight. Beautiful, nice understability on that. Okay, so I'm going to try this Mako3 again, because that was 3 pretty consistent throws. Let's see if we can't get this out there, and then we can just see exactly if there's any difference. Oh, late turn. Beautiful. All right. So I think initially right out of the gate there, I think they all pretty well fly exactly the same. Consistency wise, if you're looking for a consistent mold, that Mako3 might be just perfect. Let's go down and have a look. All right, let's see where we ended up. They all pretty well went in the same direction. The XT definitely didn't go nearly as far. There it is there, the white one. Look at that, nice tight grouping, eh? There's the XT, there's the swirly star. Hopefully you can see that champ and then the star. We are still here up at Echo Park. I thought I would try this hole for a change. This is fairly straight. You've seen me throw on some open holes down at Dry Creek, but this one is pretty tight. It's a nice tight line. From where I set myself up, I'm about 250 feet to the basket. So let's just see if we can't get this flat and straight and have it finish with a little bit of fade at the end, maybe. Perfect, just like that. That's going to be way short, but that's exactly the flight that I want. Okay, here we are back at Dry Creek Disc Golf Park. I'm here at hole number 5. Now, this one's only about 218 feet, 220 feet, but it should be perfect for being able to flip it up and not having a hard finish at the end, having it kind of float and maybe just a little tiny bit of fade. Let's see if we can't get it close. Wow. Doesn't get a lot better than that. That was fantastic. That's exactly what I want that disc to do. If I throw, say, a buzz or something else on this hole in the past, what's happened is it's hyzered up really hard, and I've ended up with a putt maybe from outside the circle. So let's go down and have a look. That might be perfect. All right, let's see. I think it might have gone a hair long. It might have just skipped past the basket, it looked like, from where I was standing. And there it is. Yeah, just past the basket. Let's pace it off here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So just about 20 feet. Let's see if we can putt with it. There we go, putter too. So here we are, hole 16. You've seen me throw this a bunch of times. I love throwing on this hole. It's great for making a shaped shot because I want to go out and turn just a little bit. There's just a breath of a headwind here. So I think if I put this pretty flat, it should turn kind of the distance, the amount that I want. We'll find out. Let's try. Hole plays 251 feet. Yeah, that's just about perfect. That reminds me a lot of what I just threw on this hole. What the heck did I just throw on this hole? Oh, I just posted the video of it the other day. Oh, the hex. That's right. Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense. They have very similar numbers. I think the Mako is probably a hair more understable than the hex, at least that one, because that hex seemed pretty beefy. All right, let's go down and pick it up and wrap things up. Yeah, I can't complain about that. Let's see if we can still putt this. It's only about 15 feet. Beautiful. All right, thanks for joining me here today. This was a nice short one. I'm trying to shorten up these disc reviews. Hopefully, I'd like to try to keep them under 10 minutes if I can. I know I get pretty talkative, and I like to talk. I like to hear my own voice, and sometimes I get a little carried away. I think it goes back to my childhood when, as being a middle kid, and if you were a young man in Vancouver in the early 1990s, moving on and maybe getting a bit older, I'm thinking that after all said and done, what I would really love to do is audiobooks. I would love to get into doing audiobooks. Yeah. Where was I? Oh, we're talking discs, right? The Mako3. Okay. So I look back and I think, okay, I'm getting to the point now where if I'm doing a test on a disc, my question isn't, is this a good disc? Should other people throw it? My question is, would this put something else out of my bag? So what I'm thinking is that if I really were looking at putting something out of my bag, it would probably be the Detour, but I don't think this is going to take the place of the Detour. The Detour gives me more options. It's a little more understable, so I could turn it over a little bit without having to work it so hard. And but until then, I think that this is still one of the best hand feels of any disc that's ever been made, and there's a reason why it is one of the most popular discs ever. So, all right, thanks very much for joining me. We'll see you here next time on Graybeard Disc Golf.